Hi, everyone. My name's Rhiannon Novelli,
And I'm Alice Nafik.
and we are MSW interns at UNCW. So, thank you for being present with us today as we're beginning to talk about our perinatal loss, a series video. So, we wanted to, what our attempt with this video series is giving a voice to this topic that really is not talked a whole lot about. So, thank you for being here with us as we enter into this space and go through these episodes together.
So I am going to briefly go over the episodes that will be included in this series. So Rhiannon will be talking in the first episode about self-care versus self-soothing. I will be talking about isolation and loneliness. We both will be talking about the relationship with the self and the body. Rhiannon will be talking about the body isn't broken, and I will be finishing it up with finding meaning in the loss.
So, what is perinatal loss? And really, perinatal loss can refer to the loss of a child at any time from conception to a year after the child's birth. And this can really look different across the time span of the pregnancy, whether this is a miscarriage, a non viable or an ectopic pregnancy, a stillborn, a spontaneous abortion. It really can look different and impacting the individual, the partnership, and the family dynamic because ultimately perinatal loss is grieving not only what was, but what could have been. And it's often very sudden and unexpected, which adds to this sense that this topic is not really talked about. And there can be a variety of emotions involved, feeling confused and isolated, even, which is why we really want to have these conversations and look to kind of bring some light into this topic and what the lived experiences are of individuals going through this.
So, perinatal loss is a lot more common than we think. So, the statistic kind of highlights that. So, it says one in every 100 pregnancies are affected by stillbirth each year. And that's just talking about stillbirths. So, when we look at the rates for miscarriages, it's about 23 million every year. And this translates to 44 pregnancy losses each year, which again shows that this is something that is happening every day, every minute, affecting millions of women, and it is not uncommon. So I kind of want to touch on who is at a greater risk for perinatal loss. So there are many factors that are uncontrollable that impact someone's susceptibility to perinatal loss. So this includes stress levels, exposure to chemicals, and genetics. So generally, people who are under more stress, whether they have a low socioeconomic status, they may be victims of violence or racism, or they may just have inherited a gene from their family and not have high stress. This all increases their susceptibility to perinatal loss. And I think it's really important to point out that Black women are 2 times more likely than white women to experience a pregnancy loss, specifically during the gestational phase. And this is partially due to higher rates of diabetes, tobacco use, obesity rates, and lower socioeconomic status. And this can really all be linked back to systemic inequality within the healthcare systems and inequality within the broader society. So, all of this to say, perinatal loss is not something that is uncommon, it's very common. And it's important to discuss these issues because the lack of discussion increases stigma, isolation, and further systemic inequality and makes resources to help people deal with perinatal loss harder to come by.
And as Alice was saying, there really is a prominent disparity in the maternal mortality rates between Black and white women. And we can also see this just within our country. The year 2021, there were 32.9 deaths for every 100,000 births. And this is higher than in previous years. In 2020, it was 23.8 deaths for every 100,000 births. And in 2019, it was 20.1. So really, we're seeing the need that this is a topic that needs to get talked about more. UCLA Health talking about how 10 to 15% of clinically identified pregnancies can end in recognized miscarriage, which just reinforces how common this is, as Alice was talking about, and how there can be stigma involved in these conversations. And really what we're looking to do is being educating and giving some light to this issue to be a part of that larger conversation that's already being happening, and joining the efforts of individuals in the community that are already fighting and making changes to benefit women in our communities.
So we want to thank you so much for watching our little intro video and entering this safe space for us. We hope that this series will give you some insight into beginning to attempt to process your loss and maybe help you find resources within your life and your community that will be a support. Thank you.
Thank you guys.